This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right, my friends, welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. Let me turn that music off. This is a super special show because we are going to talk about former Major League Baseball pitcher Mark Littell's final book, and I have the greatest guest ever, former Major Leaguer Ray Burris. But before I bring Ray Burris up on the show, let's make today a great day. And how do you make your day great? You know this already. You look for the good. You look around, you find the good, you appreciate the good. And once you realize that there's goodness, you can't almost help but have a great day. But every now and again, someone says to me, they say, Dr. Sem, there is no good. I can't find any. If that's the case, do good for someone else. Do something nice. And then there's good. And then you can look around at yourself even and appreciate that good. Remember, when we give love and when we give kindness and empathy and understanding, those attributes come back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. So I am honored. I am thrilled because Ray Burris is with me here today. I grew up a Yankee fan, as everyone knows, still am a Yankee fan. And Ray Burris was a Yankee in 1979. I remember when he became a Yankee. The Yankees acquired him from the Chicago Cubs. And I remember then when he went to the Mets, the rival Mets. But Ray Burris is one of those people you just can't help but like. We talked a little bit before the show. And sometimes you meet somebody and you like make an instant connection. You're like, I could be friends with him. I think he lives in Tampa, Florida. I'm here in New Jersey. So I don't think we have much of a chance to see each other very often. But we have this chance here today. And ladies and gentlemen, here's Ray Burris. Ray, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine, Paul. It's a wonderful day, and it's a good day to be alive. And, you know, I don't participate in too many podcasts, but I'm real honored to be a part of this one because of the time that I had to spend with Mark Littell.
Absolutely. So H.R. Ryan, Heather Rose, and I connected through SABR, which is the Society of American Baseball Research, and she talked about how she was working on this book. I had her on and Mark's friend Ethan on a couple of weeks ago, and she was very excited about the book. Here's the cover. We'll put the cover up.
Yes.
And then, of course, Mark Littell pitched for many, many years in the major leagues, came up with the Royals. He was also on the Cardinals. And, you know, Heather said, you know, what can you do to help get word out about the book? She sent me a copy. Obviously, I've read the copy of it's a great book. It's so much fun. And then I said, well, if you have any friends who you would like to invite to come onto the show. And she said, how would you like Ray Burris to come? I'm like, yeah, of course. That would be awesome. And so we communicated obviously through email and made up this date. And here we are. So why don't you tell us how you, because I don't think you were ever teammates. How'd you become friends with Mark Littell?
I became friends with Mark Littell, Paul, through an organization called BEST, B-E-S-T. They're out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, And Billy Staples is the executive director, who I've known since the early 70s because he used to be a clubhouse attendant for the Phillies and the Yankees. So we reconnected in 2006 when I was a member, a pitching coach for the Oneonta Tigers in the New York Penn League, where Tom Brookins was the manager, who was a former Tiger in the
Third
84.
baseman, I remember.
So Billy had taken some students up to Cooperstown, and on his way back, he checked to see who the coaching staff was in Oneonta and found out I was the pitching coach. So he stopped to introduce the kids to me, and I went to my first banquet of Best, which is held every July, the weekend before the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and went to that. Monty Irvin was there, and the producer for The View was there. And at that time in my life, I watched The View a lot. So I asked her, I would like to buy me a coffee cup from The View. Well, she sent me a coffee cup.
Oh, that's great.
So Billy brought Mark Littell into Allentown for the Best event several years prior to him passing. And then I got to interact with him and fellowship with him and stayed in touch with him. And when I went out to Arizona on different events, he would come see me. I'd go out there and do the Cubs fantasy camp in Mesa, and he would come down and we'd break bread together. So we formed a little bond during that time, even though I never played with him or played against him, but I got to know him once we were done playing.
And you mentioned in the chapter that you contribute to the book that you saw a lot of similarities between yourself and him as human beings, let alone baseball players.
Yes. Mark had a good heart, Paul. Mark had a good heart for people. He had a good heart for himself. And the thing I liked about him is that he was genuine. He wasn't going to try to sugarcoat anything. If you asked him something, he was going to be honest with you, whether you liked it or not. I can appreciate that, because being an athlete, a lot of times you may have been given the wrong information or lied to. And I respected somebody who was going to be honest with me and trustworthy with me. And I carried that over into as a player and a teammate, as well as into coaching. If I'm working with a young man, I'm going to be honest with him. I'm not saying it to pull you down. I'm not saying it to make your day miserable. I'm saying it to let you know, here are the facts. You can change those facts if you're willing to put forth the work in. And Mark was the kind of young man that honored work and embraced hard work. And I could identify with that because being a sharecropper in the state of Oklahoma, I knew what work was when you work in the cotton fields.
Oh, 100%. Now, Mark was also a pitching coach. So did you guys ever talk about different pitching strategies or techniques or ways to get your pitchers to work out that would help them? Did you have similar philosophies? Or
we had similar philosophies from the standpoint of keeping it simple. Throw strikes. Your job is to put the ball in play early and often. Don't be afraid of pitching to contact. Strikeouts is not what you're about. Putting the ball in play. I'm going to get 3 outs on 5 pitches than to get 3 strikeouts on 25 pitches. So we were definitely in the same era in that ballpark. He was good at attacking. He was good at pitching inside. He was good at keeping the ball down. I could identify with those qualities because pitching in Wrigley Field, you couldn't be a fly ball pitcher in Wrigley Field with the wind. You had to be a ground ball pitcher. And I learned that from Fergie Jenkins, Milt Pappas, Bert Hooton, Rick Russell when I got to the big leagues, because they taught me how to sink the ball. And I became a sinker slider guy.
And obviously that helped you. You had a couple of 15-win seasons. You had a 14-win season. You threw 200 innings numerous times.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about 1981 in a moment, but you don't know this about me. I'm 57. I still pitch in a baseball league. And
Really?
and my best attribute is I throw strikes. I don't walk too many guys. But Ray, I don't strike out many guys anymore, and I never really did. But I don't. If I get a strikeout a game, I'm pretty excited about that because they put the ball in play.
Hey, you got to use those 8 golden gloves behind you, Paul. Come on, that's what pitchers do. You got golden gloves behind you, man. Keep them golden gloves fresh and active and in the game. And when you put the ball in play early and often, then that keeps the infielders and outfielders ready. You don't let them get back on their heels. I had a teammate. Fergie Jenkins used to wear a watch in spring training when he pitched in the exhibition game. And I asked him one day, I said, why you wear a watch? He said, I time how fast I can make him hit the ball. And I'm thinking, okay, interesting. So I developed my analytics. I tried to make them hit the ball within the first 3 pitches I threw to them. That kept my infielders ready. It also promoted me well to the umpire because now he's behind the plate. He didn't want to be back there 4 or 5 hours. He knew I was going to throw strikes, so he was ready for that right hand to put it up and call strike 1, strike 2. And I was ready to see him and hear him, strike 1, strike 2. And the hitters knew when they got in that batter's box, they better be ready to swing because I'm strike 1, strike 2. If you want to go up there and look and see what I got, you'll be looking to the next at bat because 3 pitches, I'm in the strike zone. Now, I walked guys, don't get me wrong. I had intentional walks. That's part of baseball. There was times I chose not to pitch to a certain guy to go after the next guy because I felt I could put myself in a better situation of getting him out or getting a double play because I was a ground ball pitcher. But I was not afraid to throw strikes. And Mark and I shared a lot of those similarities, Paul, from a standpoint of pitching, even though he was a reliever and closer, and I was a starter most of my career, but I did pitch a lot of years out of the bullpen.
Of the players you coached, can you name a couple that were your best students? Not necessarily the ones that became the greatest players, but the ones who, or maybe tell us the attributes of those, the kids, the young men who took your advice and really ran with it and became better maybe than they might have been unless without your guidance.
Well, I got to coach a lot of players. Dave Parker was one of them in Milwaukee.
Awesome.
And I got to coach Nolan Ryan in Texas. I got to coach some of my present players, Aaron Nola of the Phillies, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's now with the Orioles, Ben Brown with the Chicago Cubs, Al Leiter with the Yankees. I had him on the rehab list when I was the rehab pitching coach for the Philadelphia Phillies from 2016 to 2020. So I have a lot of players, Zach Eflin, who's now with the Orioles. I have a lot of players that are still playing that I work with when they were hurt. And I was able to give them some information that they were able to use and stay healthy. Mark and I were complementary from a standpoint of we understood how to throw the ball correctly to stay healthy. Because right now it's about staying healthy. You see a lot of pitchers going down, Paul. You see a lot of pitchers hurt. Garrett Cole is a good example from the Yankees. He's going to have to change some things on his mechanics when he comes back. If he doesn't, he's going to go back down that same road again.
100%. I wonder if there's a way. I was actually pontificating on this a couple of weeks ago that you watch a lot of power pitchers. Nolan Ryan would be an exception because he was a power pitcher, I think, the whole way. But CC Sabathia, I remember Ron Guidry making this transition where they say in the beginning they were just hard throwers. Tom Seaver, I remember doing this. And then they said, I learned how to pitch.
Yes.
And once they lost their overpowering fastball. And I wonder if one of the great areas where teams could really do better than everybody else, sort of like a Moneyball idea for pitchers, would be to teach their pitchers, their young pitchers who can throw hard, how to pitch and how to be a pitcher rather than a thrower right from the start. And like you say, then maybe they'd throw 5 pitches in an inning instead of 25, and then maybe they could pitch a complete game instead of going 4 or 5 innings. No?
Exactly. You're exactly correct. I learned something when I got into the big leagues. Having to coach Nolan Ryan and getting to meet Sandy Koufax, 2 pitchers who were very wild early in their careers. The one thing I asked both of them, what made them the pitchers that they were or that they became? And they said, Ray, when I learned how to pitch to contact.
That's interesting for strikeout guys.
For strikeout guys, but they pitched to contact. And that's what got them to the Hall of Fame and got them to where they were able to be consistent on a regular basis. And, Sandy Koufax didn't pitch as long as Nolan did, but he was just as effective in the times that he did pitch, as we all know. But the thing that was the common denominator between the two of them, Mark and I understood that value because we would talk pitching. And I said, Mark, what was your biggest attribute in what made you who you were? And he said, Ray, when I learned to pitch to contact, because hitting is the hardest thing in the game of baseball, Paul. You're trying to hit a round object with a round object square.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. I love that. 100%. And a lot of pitching then is also just upsetting their timing, right? So when they hit it, they don't hit it as well. Did you know Jamie Moyer?
Yes, I knew Jamie Moyer. And here's a guy who pitched 25 years in the big leagues, 25 years with 269 wins, Paul. 269 wins. How come he's not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh my goodness. He wrote a book. It's on my show, and I can't see distance with my reading glasses on here, and I need reading glasses in order to see the screen. But he wrote a book a number of years ago.
Yes, sir.
That I read and took really to heart. He said that because I think my fastball, if I'm lucky, it'll hit 70, but I'm usually like in the mid 60s, and this is a league that it's a 35 plus league. Wood bats. There's still guys who are throwing in the 80s. So like I'm just an old guy I throw strikes and I get it over. I'm not in the same league as these other guys. And sometimes I get 2 strikes and I try to strike the guy out, and then they crush the ball because I can't throw hard enough. And then I read Jamie Moyer's book, and his things, he said the exact same thing. He said, as a major leaguer, when I tried to throw it too hard, I'd get shelled. Yes. So I really learned to, if it's a fastball pitch, like calling for a fastball, to throw it even slower. Because it's just upsetting timing. Yes.
But why is that, Paul?
Say again.
Why do you think that is the case when you don't try to throw it hard?
Maybe you're not throwing it straight right down the middle, and you're moving it a little.
Exactly. I'm gonna give you 3 factors that are better than velocity: movement, location, changing speeds. So the harder you try to throw, the more it's straightened out because you threw it incorrectly.
Oh, I love that. Yes. That's beautiful.
And when you didn't try to strike him out, instead of thinking, understanding what your mind is telling you, I'm going to strike him out. Why do you need to strike him out? You just need to throw a strike, and let's see what that strike gives you. If that strike gives you a strikeout, so be it. If it gives you a pop-up, so be it. If it gives you a called third strike, so be it. But as soon as you tried to throw that ball hard, you couldn't control it, you took away the movement, and you couldn't locate it.
That's brilliant. Of course it is. But you understand pitching on a level way beyond me, but I love that, and I'm going to use that. Yes, listen, sir. If you're ever in New Jersey between April and August, let me know, and I'll have you come to one of my games.
I will be I'll bring me some popcorn and a Dr. Pepper, and I'll sit there and be the best fan on the planet.
I'm going to call you to the mound to help me.
Well, big trip out there and say, hey, Paul, come on now. Keep the ball down. Think ground ball. Let's go.
I love it. So how did you become involved in the book? Did HR Ryan reach out to you? And because it's such a good book, and your chapter especially is so enjoyable because it's all about heart. So how did you get that involvement?
Mark asked me about being in the book when we were at a best event in Allentown. And I said I would be more than happy to. I was honored, very honored. And that's how it came about. So I got interviewed, put together some thought as far as my thoughts on Mark, my thoughts on baseball, my thoughts on our era, and that's how it came about. So I was very honored to be in the book, and it's not every day you get to be in somebody's book.
100%. And once again, here's the book cover: Bootheel Boy, Ain't Nothing But a Party by Mark Littell. And there it is. It says, and friends, of which, of course, you were, Mark has passed, but one of his dearest friends. So I think that's awesome. Let's talk a little about your career real quickly. 1981, you're in the playoffs against the Dodgers. You win a game, and then the next game you pitch against Fernando Valenzuela, who at that point, that was 1981. He was the Rookie of the Year and the Fernando Mania.
Oh, yeah.
And you basically traded blows with him, right? Like you were just as good as Fernando. Tell us a little about that.
It was two heavyweights going at each other. Two heavyweights going at each other. And the thing that I don't ever want to take away from a fellow adversary, Fernando was a great competitor, great pitcher. I never got to know him. I never even got to speak to him. I never faced him during that 81 season because that was the year of the strike. And we had 59 days of strike during that year. And they put the seasons into two halves. The Phillies won our division this first half because they were leading the division. We came back and beat the Cardinals in the second half of the season. So now we go up against the Phillies in the divisional series. And Steve Rogers pitched us into the National League Championship Series, beating Steve Carlton twice. So I didn't pitch very well in the divisional series in Philadelphia. I went 5 1/3 or 5 2/3. I just wasn't pleased with my performance and the way I was throwing the ball based on the way I felt I could have thrown the ball. So now we win the series in Philadelphia. We're flying from Philadelphia to Los Angeles. We have an off day. The first game is on a Wednesday, Tuesday. We work out on Monday. We play Tuesday and Wednesday in LA. Bill Gullickson starts the first game. We lose. Fernando is starting the second game against me. And I'm sitting at the Biltmore Hotel that night, looking at the sports on NBC, who televised that series. And the sports announcer comes on and he has the lineup of the Dodgers and he has the lineup of the Expos. And he goes down through the Dodgers and he reads every name 1 through 9. He goes to the Expos and he reads every name except number 9. He goes 1 through 8. And there's my name in big white bold letters. He doesn't even read my name. And I'm like, ain't this something? I'm like, are you serious? It's amazing what little thing can trigger you to take you to the next level psychologically. That took me to the next level psychologically. Now, also during that year, I had learned from Dusty Baker that Pedro Guerrero hit a home run for Valenzuela every game he pitched. Now, I'm taking all that information in, Paul. So that Monday, while we're working out, I do a bullpen in the bullpen at Dodger Stadium. And I figured out what I was doing. I wasn't staying on my backside going down the slope. I was going down on my left side, which was speeding my delivery up and throwing my rhythm and timing off. And I corrected that. And I was throwing my slider to both sides of the plate, taking speeds off of it, taking speeds off my changeup, taking speeds off my fastball, and locating and keeping it down. So I go out and I pitch a 5-hitter and win 3-0 to tie the series. Because I felt that sports announcer thought the Dodgers were going to be up 2-0 after Fernando Valenzuela. But they forgot there was a new sheriff in town.
That's right. That's you.
So I go out and win. Now, at that time, they would come and get you in the clubhouse to go down to the media room. And when it was my time, the traveling secretary came and got me, and I went down. They introduced me, Ray Burris, the winning pitcher tonight. And I got the microphone and I said, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no questions tonight. And here's the reason why. And I proceeded to tell them why. You were at the game, write what you want to write. I never gave an interview to NBC that whole series because of that.
Yeah.
And they never apologized, and I wasn't expecting them to. So I just went on about my business and kept my mind on what I needed to do. And that was to try to get to the World Series, since it was my first postseason appearance as a player. And we fell short on the Rick Monday home run.
But that was not off you.
Wasn't off me. I went 8 innings in that fifth and deciding game, and Steve Rogers comes in and he gives up the home run to Rick Monday to straightaway center field in the Big O, and we lose 2-1. So that was the first experience, and you want to do things for your local fans, and being in Canada at that time, to be able to perform like that, to give us a chance to get to the World Series, I was very proud as an American to be able to be in that position, and at the same time perform like I did, Paul. That was very gratifying.
It's awesome. That's in the biggest moments you performed as well as the best, right? And that's what it all comes down to.
I wish I would have had more opportunities to see if I could duplicate it, but I never did. And but nobody can ever take that performance away from me, my friend.
100%, 100%. You were a Yankee for a very brief time in 1979.
Yes.
Just because a lot of people, when they do podcasts, they want to hear all the negative stuff. And I don't want to hear any of that. I always want to hear the good stuff. So I was 11 years old in 1979 and you were a Yankee. So you were a god, like you, Ray Burris. Look, he's a Yankee. Where's the pinstripes and all that? So just tell me your favorite Yankee experience. What was the best part of being a Yankee?
The best part of being a Yankee for me was whenever there was, say I was on the post-game or pre-game show, whatever that player or whatever they gave me for being on that show, everybody on that team got that gift.
Oh, really?
So if it was a post-game show, you got the gift for the post-game show. If it was a pre-game show, you got the same gift as that interview that player had for the pre-game show. So every day I was walking out of old Yankee Stadium, I always took me a little duffel bag because I was going to have gifts for 162, 81 games at home. I was going to have a gift. And that's
awesome.
That was, Paul, that was like Christmas in April.
Who was your favorite teammate?
My favorite teammate on the Yankees?
Yeah.
My favorite teammate on the Yankees was Willie Randolph.
Oh, nice.
Chris Chambliss and Jim Cott.
Jimmy Cott, yeah, because he was a very like 79 and 80. I think he was a Yankee. How about that? Great people too.
Great people, and I have to. I don't want to be remiss. I would drive to the ballpark every day with Louis Tiant.
Oh,
Louis
really?
Tiant taught me so much about pitching. Louis Tiant, Jim Cott, Willie Randolph, Chris Chambliss.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Ray, we're already at the bottom of the hour, so that's it. I want to once again plug the book. The book is Bootheel Boy, Ain't Nothing But a Party. Let me bring the picture up one more time. By Mark Littell, longtime Major League pitcher, and Ray Burris, great baseball player. We just had a great interview, contributes one of the chapters. I recommend the book. Go out and get it. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said at the beginning, there's just some people who have big hearts, and you talk to them for like a minute and you say, like, you're a great human being. You just feel it. You just feel your kindness and your empathy. I felt it in the emails that we traded back and forth. So I just want to thank you for just being a great person and for doing this and helping Mark Littell's memory and being part of this. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Paul. And to all of the listeners out there, get that book. It's a real good book. You really get a lot of detail and insights to who this young man was and what he stood for, and some of the stories that are in the book, and what kind of hearts was in that book. And I think that's very, very refreshing in more ways than one.
100%. Thank you so much,
Paul. Thank you.
Have a great day. And to everybody who's watching, also have a great day. Thank you for everybody.
If you need me to look at your delivery. All right.
Yes, I want you to. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.